Hello, morning. Here are your headlines at 6 o'clock. And a new crackdown on vaping amid concerns about the number of children trying e-cigarettes.
One person is killed in Kyiv after the third air attack on Ukraine's capital in 24 hours. And 2 early morning explosions have been heard in Russia's capital, Moscow.
Very quiet good morning with the campers in the Peak District this morning. These are some of the millions deciding to spend their Whit holidays in the UK this year. More of us are deciding to holiday closer to home, but are we spending less? I'll be looking at the numbers.
Good morning. In a weekend of playoff drama, a last-minute goal promotes Sheffield Wednesday. An incredible diving header in the dying seconds at Wembley sends the Owls into the Championship next season.
Adam Peaty on his mental health struggles, the tears that made him question his love for swimming, and his return to training ahead of next year's Paris Olympics.
I should not be waking up in the morning, on a Thursday morning, going to training and crying and wanting to go out. That's not normal. So, do you need a break? Yes, have the break, then we'll come back.
7 men have been taken into custody in Northern Ireland after appearing in court, accused of attempted murder of a senior police officer. Detective Chief Inspector John Caldwell was shot multiple times outside a sports complex in Omagh in February. He had been coaching a youth football team and was with his young son at the time. In London, the Metropolitan Police say it will stop attending emergency calls involving mental health incidents starting in September, unless there's an immediate threat of life. The Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, Sir Mark Rowley, has written to Health and Social Care Services outlining the need for officers to concentrate on their primary role of fighting crime. But some doctors are worried.
The police actually are across London and they've got the infrastructure to survey the whole of London. And they have an emergency power called Section 136, where they can bring someone from a public space to a place of safety. So that's where I am. You know, there aren't psychiatrists, there aren't enough to be around London.
Now, some of the biggest names in comedy have joined a protest against sewage being pumped into Windemere in the Lake District. Windemere is England's largest natural lake. Among the protesters were Paul Whitehouse, Lee Mack and Steve Coogan.
Here, the rate of price rises at UK supermarkets hit a new high in May, according to the British Retail Consortium.
The overall rate of inflation at grocers has now reached 9%, while the cost of fresh food has fallen slightly. Commodities like coffee and chocolate have increased in price.
Workers at the homeless charity St Mungo's will begin a month-long strike today in a dispute over pay. Members of the Unite union are expected to stage picket lines outside offices in several cities. The union said workers were taking a stand following the offer of a 2.25% pay rise, while St Mungo's has said it can't afford to meet the union's demands and called the strike unprecedented and disproportionate.
The government has just hours to hand over Boris Johnson's WhatsApp messages to the COVID-19 inquiry or risk facing legal action. Fresh claims of a total cover-up by ITV over Philip Schofield's affair with a younger male colleague. And Sky News witnesses how 600 people had to be rescued from the world's most dangerous migrant crossing.
Should we have a look at this morning's newspaper front pages, the lead stories? And here's the Telegraph, who have an interview with the Prime Minister today. He has backed the academic Professor Kathleen Stock, who's due to speak at the Oxford University Union today. Her views on trans issues have led to protests in the past. Mr Sunak tells the paper universities should be an environment where debate is supported and not stifled.
Times carries this picture of people in Kyiv sheltering in the metro underground after Russian missiles hit the capital yesterday, what we were just talking to James Landale about.
The Guardian gives a glowing
Don't say
review.
anything.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
so
I haven't.
The final episode of Succession, which started streaming yesterday. I was up this time yesterday watching it.
Stop
5 stars.
speaking. Stop
It's
saying words.
Brilliant. Yeah, when are you going to watch it?
Today, obviously.
OK, you better.
Or else.
Talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah. And Sheffield Wednesday's victory over Barnsley in the League One playoff final makes it to the front of the Yorkshire Post. Brilliant picture.
In the meantime, I'm terrified of saying anything to you about anything because I'm going to give
What,
you
more than usual?
Yes, exactly.
What then is making the front pages of this morning? The gloves are off. That's how the Metro describes the latest exchanges between former presenters Philip Schofield and Oman Holmes over the behind-the-scenes culture at ITV show this morning. Boris Johnson's WhatsApp account and what it might reveal to the COVID-19 inquiry is top story for The Times, which says the legal battle is looming over releasing those messages. Now, the Mail leads with what it calls fury as a donation Sir Keir Starmer's Labour Party received from a top funder of the Just Stop Oil movement. The Mirror then speaks to the mother of a 10-year-old boy killed by a dangerous dog. And the Telegraph reports that Rishi Sunak is backing a feminist academic's right to be heard at the Oxford Union. Moving on to the Eye now, that reveals that people could be asked to recycle less in order to cut down on the number of non-recyclable items finding their way into the system. The system is so confusing, let's face it. And the Express says that high street banks are under increasing pressure to offer better rates to savers. And the Financial Times leads with news that Labour is planning to force major landowners to sell off plots cheaply in an effort to cut the cost of building new homes. And that's also the top story there on the front page of The Guardian. And finally, The Star tells us that experts think we've been drinking our beer the wrong way, saying that more foam is better than less. A pint of foam, please, barman. I'm not so sure about that. And if you want to see any of those front pages again or read the stories, just scan the QR code, which is on your screen.